As we are this time every Thursday by our good friend Mike Keith, the voice of the Vols, presented by the South's most trusted Ford dealer, Two Rivers Ford, and Volunteer Traditions. Mike, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Will. How are you?
Good. I'm curious how play-by-play broadcasters and college sports people function in the month of November. Mike, what has this first week been like, and really first 2 weeks, going back to the exhibition against Duke, managing the prep, managing the logistics? I'm just fascinated by all of this, of a football game on Saturday, a basketball game on Monday, and maybe a bye week that comes at a good time for you this weekend.
I mean, it's work from the standpoint that you've got to be prepared, but it's fun. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is I've just been excited to have the opportunity. Getting to call basketball is a lot of fun, and getting to be in that atmosphere and be around more of our athletes. The continuation of football season is great. I never get tired of football. There's never been a point in my life where I've finished the Super Bowl as a spectator, whatever, and thought, man, I sure am glad football's gone.
Amen.
Boy, that football, ooh-wee, I don't want any more of that. So, I mean, it's awesome. People have a lot harder jobs than me, so I will never complain.
I love it. Love it. Mike, as Tennessee hits this bye week and heads into still a very important 3-game stretch coming up in the month of November, where do you think this staff is taking stock of where they are at this point in bye week number 2, coming out of a loss over the weekend to Oklahoma? Where do you think this staff wants to see more growth down the stretch from this young football team?
Well, I mean, that's a hard question to answer based on the fact that I think they want to win their last 3 games. I think that's what it comes down to, is they want to figure out a way to win these last 3 games, because you're not out of the playoff chase until they say you're out of the playoff chase. And so, I mean, you're not done. I mean, there were some 3-loss teams that nearly got in last year. So you don't want to give up the ghost. Now, does it look unlikely? Yes, very much so. I get it. So the main thing is, how do you win these last 3 games, which will be, New Mexico State is certainly not a great team, but you have to take them seriously. Florida at the Swamp is a big deal for Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't win in the Swamp. They haven't. Right. So no matter what Florida's got, you've got to go down there and find a way to win. And then, Vanderbilt is having a great year. So you understand that they're going to have a lot to play for when they get here. If you go 9-3, you give yourself whatever shots you've got left in the playoff. You give yourself that full shot. And if that doesn't work out, then you certainly have given yourself your best option for whatever bowl is there. And that always makes people happier. I mean, if you're going to go to a better bowl, that's good for everybody involved with the program. And then on top of that, you've got a chance to say you've won double-digit games in 3 of the last 4 years. So, those are the things you're really concentrating on. And so I think what it comes down to is they just want to see these guys improve and quit killing themselves with mental mistakes. To me, that's what it comes down to, is making sure, and some of them are physical, obviously, but like Aguilar throwing picks in the Oklahoma game, that's playing ball, man. I mean, he didn't make good choices in either case, but that's playing ball. Blocking the wrong person on a pass rush and having the quarterback get hit and it be a strip sack that's returned for a touchdown, that's a mental mistake from a young player who missed a month. And so you want David Sanders to continue to get better, because he is immensely talented. But what also happens there is, if he plays better, you have a better chance to win these games. And I just used that as one example, because that's where Tennessee has been all year, is these things have caused them problems all season long. And if they could eliminate more of those mistakes down the stretch, I think they check off a lot of boxes, which give yourself the best chance to win. see young players learn and improve and take that growth towards next year for the ones who are going to return. But, again, I think it's all about right now. I don't mean to go with coach speak, but I think that's where they are at this moment.
That's fascinating. We're joined by Mike Keith, the voice of the Vols, and just an all-around great individual, okay?
Thank you, Ramon. That's so kind.
You mentioned something about football, man, that made me think a little bit like soon as the season over with, we want more and we're searching for everything that's involved in it. And the world of college football specifically, does it, as a consumer of it, a lover of it yourself, does it just kind of take you back a little bit when people kind of check out in these scenarios if you don't make the college football playoffs? We were having a social media conversation about what's good enough, 9 to 11 wins, 10 wins, expectations and stuff like that when it comes down to coaches, when it comes down to teams. Mike, has it changed your viewpoint of how the consumer views college football because of the NIL and because of the portal stuff?
Sure. Yeah, I think it does from the standpoint that college football is now a tournament sport. And so losing one game doesn't cost you anything. It used to be that if Tennessee lost to Florida in week 3, to a certain extent, their season was over. Because then Florida would have to lose twice or else Tennessee couldn't go to the SEC championship game. And, these were the steps that you took. Now, when Tennessee lost to Georgia in week 3, it was disappointing, but it wasn't the end of the season. But it also meant that the game against Oklahoma, to a certain extent, it was called a playoff elimination game. Mm-hmm. And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but it did have that feel. And so that adds to it. Now, the funny thing about Oklahoma's situation is with their remaining schedule, it's possible, not likely, but possible, they may not win again. And it's also possible Tennessee may not lose again. So even though Oklahoma beat Tennessee, Tennessee may end up standing a better chance of making the college football playoff. But yet in that moment last Saturday, we were singularly focused on that one game. That's fun. That's good stuff. And so you've got all of this that goes on with it now. But you also understand, I think listen, everybody in this building, I'm in the football complex right now. Everybody in this building, I just walked in, and they're working here. Right. I see people working right now hard. What I can tell you about this is Josh Heupel wants to go to the playoff every year. Everybody on his coaching staff wants to go to the playoff every year. Danny White wants to go to the playoff every year. Everybody on his staff wants to go to the playoff every year. That's the expectation at Tennessee. Tennessee wants to be one of those schools in the mix, but also there's a realism that that's not going to happen, because who you're playing against, well, guess what? LSU wants to go to the playoff every year. Georgia does, and Florida does, and Alabama does, and, on and on and on. Texas A&M and Texas. That's who you compete with on a weekly basis in this conference. Where you have to put yourself is you've got to be somewhere in the mix every year. And then in certain cases, you're going to have special teams with special people, and Clint Sterner's going to stumble and fumble, and Travis Stevens and Travis Henry are going to be there when Jamal Lewis gets hurt. And, oh, by the way, 17 guys are going to step up on defense that you didn't expect to. And Al Wilson's going to become one of the greatest leaders in program history. And, that's where it comes. But you can't do that if you're not in the mix. And sometimes being in the mix is better than others. But, where Tennessee is right now, they are certainly in this mix. And are there things, just like to Will's original question, are there things that they have to improve upon? Absolutely. It's not been Tennessee's year from the standpoint of luck. Their best defensive player hasn't played all year. They've had a couple things go against them in games. They've had a couple of mistakes that have beaten them. They literally were a kick away from beating Georgia. And so how does the season change then? is that an indictment on your overall program? If he makes that kick, is your program any better than it is right now, or any worse? I mean, that's the difficult part. Here's where Tennessee is right now. Tennessee is where Philip Fulmer was in the mid-'90s. And that is, they're figuring out that going from good to very good in that range to great to elite, that next step is really, really hard. But I sure rather would be very good to, good to very good than be trying to come from where they were 5 years ago.
No doubt about it. As you kind of took my thunder, Mike, that's where I was going to go next.
Sorry, Ramon.
No, it's all good. We kind of built this thing up now. It is what it is. My flyover's doing really good again, too.
It is going well.
It's so good. It's the highlight of every week now, I'm going to be honest with you.
It is.
It has been.
That's been a conversation this week is I had a post that said, we act as if there's 2 national champions each year. There's only one. And right. I bring it up because you brought up the Coach Fulmer aspect of it, though, is how healthy of a university, of a team, do you think this program is right now? Because sometimes, Mike, you just got to wait on your turn to kick the door in. And Tennessee knocked last year, had an opportunity this year, and just 3 losses kind of makes that, going up to the doorstep a little bit harder.
Sure.
But how do you view the idea of, okay, well, Penn State thought they had it all, LSU did too, and now they're both fired their coaches? Like, you don't want to be firing coaches or underselling your expectations, but the goal is to continually be knocking at that door, and that's what finally got Coach Fulmer, Saban, and everybody else over the hump.
Yeah, I mean, that's you're constantly refining and tweaking. And I'll give you a great example. Bill Battle went 39-9 in his first 48 games at Tennessee. In 1973, he lost the homecoming game to Georgia because he faked a punt late in the game and it failed. And Georgia, who had not thrown a pass the entire day, went in and scored a touchdown to beat Tennessee 35-31. From that point on in his tenure, Bill Battle went 20-13-2. His program went downhill every year. Philip Fulmer lost to Memphis in a game. It wasn't like the Memphis teams now. They were a bad team, and a really good Tennessee team lost to them in Memphis. At the point at which he lost that game, Philip Fulmer was 39-9 at that moment.
Wow.
And that was 1996. Mm-hmm. And when they came back here, and it was the same moment, it was the exact same moment. And from there, Philip Fulmer went 28-2. So at tough moments, whether you're losing big upsets or you lose disappointing games or whatever, there are those tweaks, there are those looks in the mirror. What do we have to do? You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but maybe you change the baby's shampoo, Yeah. And maybe you use different soap. Yeah. I mean, maybe there's a different way to dry them off. I don't know. But what Philip Fulmer did is he looked in the mirror and he said, okay, that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have. I mean, it was really bad. I was standing in the locker room interviewing him and players afterwards, and when people say, oh, I'm sorry what you're having to deal with the Titans or with this after a loss, I'm like, you ain't seen nothing. That was low. That was really bad. Mm-hmm. And they came back from that. They said, you know what? Here's what's going to happen. And the strength and conditioning program was tweaked a little bit. And, he tweaked some philosophical things about what they wanted to be. And, oh, by the way, the next year, they went to the Orange Bowl, and Nebraska ran over them. I mean, absolutely ran over them. And so, you know what they said? And that was 11-2. That was a good year, 11-2. And they went back and they said, okay, we got to do more of this. And then the next year they won the national championship. So all of these things, I think history is a great teacher, and no, regardless of era, what it shows us is you've constantly got to be tweaking the product, because this next step to go to where Georgia is right now. How's Georgia winning these games right now? They don't think they're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe it.
Yeah.
They're not much better than anybody else, if any better at all right now in this tough conference. But Georgia does not believe they are going to lose. And so they're not, unless they're playing Alabama, who they can't seem to beat. But everybody else, they've got the whammy on right now. That's where Tennessee got in the late 90s and early 2000s, you know. But to get to that point, it took a minute, even for Fulmer.
It's very fair. It's very well put, Mike. And from
it's a long answer.
No, it's a good one. And I'm curious, Mike, specifically for this football team and just maybe for the philosophical shift that Josh Heupel made this offseason, saying, let's put young guys that we trust, who we've scouted since they were sophomores in high school. Let's trust them to build this program long term. And maybe we'll put some guys in and you'll have missed blocking assignments. But you know what? These freshmen are going to be better sophomores and juniors, and hopefully at Tennessee, because of the lessons they learned, both good and bad, in 2025 as freshmen. Mike, from your perspective, spending time around this football team and getting to know some of these younger players and getting to watch from up close some of the unproven coming into 25 players who are now a little more proven, Mike, what is just the personality of this football team like, and what do you feel like you've learned about the future of Tennessee football by watching the present and a lot of guys who are going to be a big part of the future play and kind of learn on the job this year?
Well, so let me ask you guys a question before I answer that.
Sure.
If Joey Aguilar is Tennessee's quarterback last year, are the Vols better?
I say yes.
I think so, too.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Because you put a veteran quarterback on that team, and it makes a difference. You certainly, I think, win at least one more. You don't lose to Arkansas, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so then you're probably playing for the SEC championship. Win or lose, you're going to get a home game in the playoff, right? And so and if you get Penn State's draw last year in the playoff, you might go to the semis.
Right.
Well, Nico was a young quarterback on a veteran team, on a much more veteran team. You expected him as a veteran quarterback to have an impact on this young team. It was always going to have to be young because you lost so much age. This was going to be a young ball club. And it's great that Joey Aguilar was here to help them do a lot of what they certainly have a chance to win their last 3 games. They certainly have that opportunity. And for this team to be so young, if they go 9-3, and they've played 48 freshmen, 27 true freshmen, then they have an opportunity to kind of build it forward. And I think that's what's exciting about watching a lot of these guys is they have become really high-functioning players at a variety of spots already. And you see Aguilar has had a great effect on the stabilization of this team to where for the long term of Tennessee, it may have been better that you had Aguilar this year because he's put them in positions to win,
right,
virtually every single week and given them a chance to really play at a level where the most important thing, Will, to me, is this group of guys needed to play in games that mattered. They need to play in situations that mattered. They didn't need to be playing all in blowouts and, last minute mop up of a big loss or whatever. They needed to play in the Alabama game. They needed to play against Georgia. They needed to play, in this Oklahoma and this time down the stretch. And they're going to. So I think that's what's really nice about this year is losing all they lost from last year. You thought this was going to be a bit of an adjustment year anyway. And because you've had solid quarterbacking and a really, really mature guy running the ball club, a real leader and some other real leaders on the ball club. I think it's helped a lot.
Voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, excellent as always here with us
definitely.
on the show. Tennessee on the hardwood, on the grass, keeping the Vol Network very, very busy. Mike Keith show still today, Mike, in the bye week?
Today, yes, I would like for as many Vol fans as possible listening to subscribe to the Tennessee Athletics YouTube channel. It helps my family. And I just like to say that. And I think about family first. So please subscribe. I actually have Leanne Morgan on the show today.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Anytime.
Tony Vitello's favorite.
Yeah.
A lot of people's favorite.
She is unbelievable. You know, she's got the #1 show on Netflix right now with her new comedy special that came out 2 days ago, Unspeakable Things. And they've already renewed her TV series. And I mean, she's big deal now.
Nice.
And she loves the Vols. You know, she was in school while I was in school, actually.
Nice. Awesome.
We didn't know each other, but she's a Middle Tennessean. Did you know that?
I did not know that. Nice.
Joe Burns, Red Devil.
All right.
Joe
Adams,
Burns?
Tennessee. Joe Burns, Red Devil.
What?
She's from Adams, Tennessee. She'd tell you every story about the Bell Witch.
Yeah.
See, now we got to get around
That's a
that,
fun rabbit
right?
hole.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely. I love it. All right. We'll be tuned in.
Good luck with that, by the way. I can't tell you how long it took me.
Nice. Nice. All right. Well, we'll be tuned in. Subscribe to the Tennessee Athletics YouTube channel. Help Mike's family today. Mike Keith show, even a bye week.
Mike Keith, 2028, baby.
That's right.
2 o'clock. 2 o'clock today.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Mike.
the time as always.
Bye.
All right. Mike Keith with us.
My God. That's big time right there.